So looking at all this stuff that's going on now with the banks, you might wonder where this is going. Well, there's something you need to be aware of, and that is that all these CEOs and all these companies and corporations and banks have been meeting semi in secret with the World Government Forum. And you can look that up on YouTube. They have a channel with hundreds of videos. They've been meeting very intensely last year and this year. And what they're discussing in this World Government Forum is the same thing that the United Nations has already put back years ago and put forward as their plan, Agenda 2030, which is totalitarian control of every aspect of your damn life. And they've been planning this for decades.
Do you feel it in the air? Everything is changing, a world wasted by fear.
Hi there. Good question. So, whatever the devil does, God can use it for the good of his people, and he will. So, I'm going to break this down. This is not financial advice. Crypto people, financial people are welcome to critique me, add their opinions. This is going to probably be a series because I really want to help people. I'm sick of these financial gurus telling everybody to pay for advice. If you guys want to be free, you have got to be willing to put in the effort to do your own research. So please research everything I'm explaining. I am here to help you. Although some of the advice that I'm about to give you may not be very comfortable to you because people don't understand all this digital currency. So what I'm going to tell you folks is that CBDC and cryptocurrency are not the same thing. Okay, CBDC is fully controlled and will be programmable, and cryptocurrency is not. However, cryptocurrency is it's not actually currency. What cryptocurrency is are the systems that will run the digital currency system. So if you can imagine, blockchain is going to be like the roads, and cryptocurrency is essentially the vehicles on the roads. And those two things are required for a CBDC. So I believe at this moment, God is allowing a stepping stone for people to get out of this system if you have not had a chance to financially prepare. If you're not ready for a banking collapse right now, this is your chance. My opinion. But first, let's get into what's going on with these banks right now. My opinion. The domino has been pushed over. They're beginning to basically crash the small banks. And in doing so, that's going to corral people into the big banks. Because the big banks are already set up ISO compliant. They're ready to run a digital currency.
Recap for those who may not be aware of ISO 20022. It's a standard for data exchange between financial institutions. It reduces some of the frictions of transacting between institutions that exist in SWIFT, for example. And it's just a standardization method for faster payment delivery. You know, think of all the stuff happening out with CBDCs. This type of standard will be a core component, I believe, going forward. But the other real thing is the key differentiator for ISO 20022 is it's going to allow for a huge amount of financial metadata to be shared across financial institutions with the central bank. And they'll have the ability to conduct potentially a lot of financial surveillance. They'll be able to track where the money came from, who it came from, how much they have, etc., where it's going, and it'll have a full kind of chain behind it. And if anything, it's just a reminder of the importance of crypto and how you need to have sovereignty over your own money. This is so important.
Now, who knows how they're going to do this? I can tell you guys, Fridays are going to be interesting days. But my opinion is when it comes to the big banks, when the big banks finally do fail as well, what's going to happen is on a Friday, the banks will go down. On a Monday, they'll come back up again, and the FDIC will have insured everybody's deposits. But what will be returned to people is CBDC. And the majority of the people will be none the wiser that their currency just switched. Okay, so when the big banks finally go down, or when your bank goes down, you people need to be looking for this. And when they come back up, this is months ago, I told you folks you should be studying contract law. Because if your bank switches currency, that is voiding your mortgage contracts.
So our basic definition of a contract is going to be a promise that a court will enforce. Put a slightly different way, it's a promise that, if broken, can result in liability. You can also define a contract as an agreement that can be enforced in court. Together with the common law, the Uniform Commercial Code is one of the primary sources of contract law in the U.S. The Uniform Commercial Code is commonly known as the UCC, and it's actually one of many model laws or uniform laws in the United States. Among other things, Article 2 of the UCC applies to transactions for the sale of goods. So the UCC itself is a model law, so it's not exactly the law. As a model law, it's really a proposal that each state has to choose whether to adopt or not. But the UCC was enormously successful. Pretty much every state has adopted the UCC. Remember, different states can have different laws, but because each state has practically the same version of the UCC, we can expect contract law for the sale of goods to be the same from state to state. That's why you'll see something called the New York Uniform Commercial Code, and you'll see something called the California Uniform Commercial Code. It's just each state's version of the Uniform Commercial Code. By and large, the California Uniform Commercial Code, the New York Uniform Commercial Code, and other states' uniform commercial codes will be the same. So if we have a contract for the sale of goods and parties from different states, they can be confident that the same law is going to apply. So for purposes of most contract law classes and for bar review classes generally, you should consider the UCC as the source of law governing transactions for the sale of goods, and the common law is probably going to govern everything else: real estate contracts, service contracts, employment insurance, etc.
I told you to study contract law. If you don't understand that statement, I can't do it for you. If you want to be free, you must learn how to take responsibility for your freedom. So let's paint a scenario here. Your bank goes down on a Friday. Monday they come up and you have digits in your account again. I would assume that is a CBDC, that is not fiat currency. When your mortgage becomes due, make sure you have cash on hand. You take cash directly to your bank and you attempt to make your payment with the cash. If they refuse it, they just voided your mortgage. Okay, and I could expand on that a little bit more, but nonetheless, if you do not know how to stand on this according to contract law, it's not going to do you any good anyways. So make sure you have a copy of your mortgages and you're reading through your contracts and you're looking up the definitions, like I told you folks before, because your mortgage contracts were created in this system of fiat currency. And if the banks switch their currency, that is breach of contract, because there's no way that a fiat currency is going to transition to a CBDC for the same amount of value. And they have to prove that it's the same currency. If they're telling you it's the same currency, then why wouldn't they accept your cash? That's a whole other issue, though. So if you're not prepared for a banking collapse now, what do you do? What do you do? We're all poor, right? We haven't been able to go out and buy land and get the things that we need to prepare. So this is what I mean by I believe God is using the cryptocurrency as a stepping stone for his people to get his people out. And I know that folks feel like, well, I don't want to buy into the system. The digital currency system's already here, okay? You not participating in it and putting yourself in a position to have to accept a CBDC is going to be very bad for you and your family. Because guys, once you spend $1 of that, you have just agreed to the system. So for those of you concerning your mortgages, as I was just saying earlier, make sure you do not spend $1 or you've just accepted the system. Meaning you cannot argue your mortgage contract or your contracts based upon the fact that they've switched the currency, because once you spend $1, you've just accepted it. So what's important for people to understand, if you put yourself in a position to be forced into the CBDC, you will be. You're going to have problems. And remember, guys, the digital currency is not what is evil. What's evil is that as this QFS, quantum financial system, begins to progress, internal bodily technology is going to be required in order to operate in that system. That's what people want to stay away from at all costs. But if you sit on your hands right now and you're not prepared for this switch, you're going to put yourself in a position where you may be forced into the CBDC or just out on the streets unprepared if you haven't had a chance to prepare, because people are poor. So understand, CBDC is coming straight from the government, fully controlled, programmable. Cryptocurrency is essentially the vehicles of operation for the CBDC. So cross-border payments, authentication, etc. It is private for now. Eventually they're going to get it under control, but for right now, it is private. It will allow you to remain outside of this system for a little longer. And you have a chance to make a lot of money on it. Once this system crashes and the new one comes up, crypto's going to soar. There's been a lot of manipulation in the market to push people out of it. Just do your research, guys. There are a handful of ISO compliant cryptocurrencies right now. Those are a pretty safe bet. I'm going to list them. Please do your own research. My opinion is XRP and XLM would probably be your best bet if you only have a few $100s to invest. At the other side of this, that few $100s could turn into quite a few thousand, okay? $1,000 investment, if you choose the right crypto, could give you just enough money to be able to turn around, buy land, buy a yurt, just get out of the system. And that's what people want to do. You got to get your head set that you got to get out of this system, and you got to get past the idea that you even need a currency. And this may be your chance to prepare with crypto. You're going to want to offload that crypto onto some cold storage. If you can, look it up. And when the crypto booms, sell it off and get out. Gold, silver is another good investment, but you're not going to make as much money right away as you will with crypto. So yeah, gold and silver is great to store wealth if you already have wealth. But for those of you that don't have any wealth and you need a way to make some wealth in order for you to get out of the system, get a piece of land, get a yurt, get whatever you need, get out of the system and learn how to operate sovereign. Learn how to take whatever you have, put it in a trust, learn trust law, learn how to be sovereign. You are already free. You just have to learn how to be. And right now, coming forward, we actually have a wonderful opportunity to truly become free. But people got to come together in community, and nobody's done that yet. So take this opportunity to do just that. And in order to be free, you have to be moral, you have to be ethical. If you can't do that, you're already a slave. So I hope this helps some folks.